Andrew and Emma agreed to meet for a date at the park entrance at 9 p.m. But there was a slight problem. Both Andrew's and Emma's watches were showing the wrong time. Andrew's watch was 3 minutes behind, but he thought it was 2 minutes ahead. Emma's watch, on the other hand, was 2 minutes ahead, but she thought it was 3 minutes behind. Which of them do you think will be late for the date? Andrew will be 5 minutes late and Emma will be 5 minutes early. Gemma was attending a technology-themed costume party. When she arrived at the venue, she saw 3 people chatting by the drinks buffet who were all dressed in robot costumes. However, she noticed that one of them was a real robot. Can you tell who? Everyone is holding drinks in their hands, but take a look at the second guy. His glass is empty, but he's still pretending to drink something from it. Robots and liquids don't go well together, so he must be an actual robot. Realizing that Gemma noticed him, the robot immediately pulled her to the corner of the room and said, "Now that you know my real identity, I need to wipe your memory. But if you can answer my riddle correctly, I'll let you go. I have keys, but open no locks. I have space, but no room. You can enter, but you can't go inside. What am I?" The answer is a computer. Janice, Candace, and Demeter were 3 witches who cared a lot about looking young and beautiful, but one of them was actually 100 years old. Can you tell me who? The first witch, Candace, who is taking a selfie, looks like an old woman on her phone screen, but that's just a social media filter. As for the second witch, Janice, the creepy old lady-looking shadow at the back is not her shadow. It's an evil spirit that's haunting her. But look at the mirror the third witch, Demeter, is holding. It's reflecting what she doesn't want others to see, aka her true face. So she's the old lady here. Lloyd went to the costume store to buy something to wear for Halloween. Once he selected a costume for himself, he headed to the fitting rooms to try it, but all 3 of them were occupied. A few minutes later, 3 different customers in costumes came out of them. The first one was wearing a vampire costume. The second was wearing a werewolf costume, and the third one was wearing a zombie costume. But Lloyd immediately realized that one of them was actually a real monster. Can you tell who? Take a look at the mirrors in front of the fitting rooms. The customer in the vampire's costume doesn't have a reflection. That can only mean he is a real vampire. Sir Ridley Stormrider was a knight searching for his one true love. He traveled to the kingdom of Veridonia after hearing rumors that there was a magical mirror there, which revealed the location of the heart's desire to those who looked into it. But there was a catch. It would only reveal it to you if you knew the answer to the riddle that was engraved on it. I'm often running, but I never get tired. What am I? Can you help Sir Ridley Stormrider find love? The correct answer is water. Inspector Banner was inspecting the Academy of History and Science. During his inspection, he noticed that whenever he asked the class a question, all the students raised their hands in response. Moreover, even though the school teacher chose a different student each time, the answer was always correct. How did this work? The teacher had prearranged with the students that they would be called upon to answer regardless of whether they knew the answer or not. But those who knew the answer should raise their right hand, and those who did not know should raise their left hand. The teacher chose a different student each time. but always the one who raised his right hand. Amy had one last test to pass before she graduated. Her professor asked her only one question during the exam, which was this: you have 2 candle wicks. Each wick, lit from the end, burns completely to the ground in exactly 1 hour, but it burns at an uneven rate. How can you use these wicks and a lighter to measure 45 minutes? Can you help Amy graduate? It's necessary to light the first wick simultaneously from both ends, which will give you 30 minutes. Simultaneously with the first wick, you light the second wick from the end, and when the first wick burns out after 30 minutes, you light the second wick from the other end, which will give you the remaining 15 minutes. Layla's best friend was her dog named Gamgee. One night after spotting a falling star in the sky, she wished that Gamgee could talk to her. Then, suddenly, the star came to life in front of her and said, "I will grant you your wish if you can answer this riddle of mine. Always old, sometimes new, never sad, sometimes blue, never empty, sometimes full, never pushes, always pulls. What am I?" The answer is the moon. To Layla's surprise, her dog really started talking. The first thing it said was, "Oh, this riddle game is so fun! I want to play it too! Here's my riddle to you. What's always found on the ground but never gets dirty?" It's a shadow. Jamie was standing at the edge of a circular lake. The lake was 200 feet in diameter, and there was a small island directly in the middle. There was a large tree next to him and a large tree in the middle of the island. Jamie needed to get to the island in the middle of the lake, but he didn't know how to swim. He only had a little over 200 feet of rope. How can he use that to get there? First, Jamie needs to tie one end of the rope to the tree next to him. Then, while he's holding the other end of the rope, he should walk all the way around the lake. This will wrap the rope around the tree in the center. When he returns to his starting point, he needs to tie the end of the rope he's holding to the large tree again. He can now use this rope bridge to hold on to and cross the lake to the island. Cedric was a brilliant scientist. One day, suddenly a small portal appeared in his lap, and a little device with a letter attached to it fell on his head right before the portal closed. The letter said, "From future Cedric to past Cedric. One of my experiments accidentally caused chaos to be unleashed on Earth. That is why I have to prevent you from conducting this experiment in the first place. You will find the details inside the box, but you can only open it if you know the answer to this riddle. What occurs once in a minute, twice in a moment, and never in 1,000 years? Can you help Cedric save the future world?" The answer is the letter M. People who visited the town of Maplebrook often found themselves intrigued by Mr. Perry. He had a reputation of a not quite intelligent person. That was because when offered a choice between a 50-cent coin and a $5 bill, he always chose the coin, even though it was worth 10 times less than the banknote. Can you tell why he never chose the banknote? Well, he was not so foolish after all. You see, he realized that as long as he chose the 50-cent coin, people would offer him money to choose from, and if he chose the $5 bill, the offers of money would stop, and he would get nothing. Matt buys a new house. In the basement, he discovers 3 signed boxes and a note. It says that one of the boxes contains $1 million. The two other boxes are empty, according to the note. Only one of the three messages written on the boxes is true. On the first box, it said that the cash is not there. The second box has a similar message: the cash is not here. And the third box says that the cash is in the second box. If you were Matt, which bag would you choose? Matt should choose the first bag, as we know only one of the clues is true. So the money should be in the first bag. Matt walks out of his house and goes to the garden. He pulls out his right hand. Suddenly, a bee lands on it. What's in Matt's eye? Beauty. Why? Because beauty is in the eye of the bee holder. In the garden, Matt takes two pictures. Can you spot three differences between them? Here they are. Matt returns home and figures out that someone has broken into his house, and the thief has just left. How did Matt figure this out? Someone turned on his electric stove and put a plastic bag on top. The plastic is only half melted, so the thief must have left a few seconds ago. Matt goes to his favorite vegan restaurant as usual on Fridays. He orders a slice of pizza, puts it on a table, and leaves for a couple of minutes to wash his hands. Then Matt comes back and finds out that his pizza is gone. He interrogates three customers nearby. Harold says, "I'm not hungry, so I didn't even look at your food. I came here for the sake of coffee." Bella says, "I was having a video call with my boyfriend. He lives in another country, so we go on virtual dates every Sunday. Distance is so exhausting." And Anna says, "I was taking pictures of my food, so I didn't look around. You can check them out if you don't believe me." After hearing about what they had to say, Matt knows for sure who's a liar. What about you? According to Bella, she goes on virtual dates every Sunday. But it's Friday. Liar! Matt's girlfriend Erica is visiting him in his lab. Suddenly, she faces two identical Matts. Can you help her figure out who's a clone? The guy on the right has a scar on his arm. Meanwhile, the clone doesn't have any because his skin is brand new. Matt goes to the mall and buys a bat and a ball for $1.10 in total. The bat costs $1 more than the ball. How much does the ball cost? Nope, the correct answer is not 10 cents. It's actually a little less. A ball costs 5 cents and the bat $1.05. And together they total $1.10. Someone robbed Matt's lab. The thief stole the cloning device and he's going to hand it over tonight. This is a great opportunity to catch the criminal. The police figure out the approximate place where to look for the device. They decide to question several people nearby. Greg says, "The garbage truck has just emptied the overhead trash cans." Jeff says,
"I'm in charge of these trash cans. I checked all the cans next to the yellow ones and found nothing interesting."
And Bill just points at all the trash cans that someone approached today. Can you help the police find the trash can with the stolen device? First of all, we need to calculate the top cans. And now let's check all the remaining trash cans which people were approaching. The next step is to remove those next to the yellow ones. And here it is, the trash can we've been looking for. After the robbery, Matt decides to lock his lab door with a password. There are 4 buttons with different images: orange, banana, apple, and tomato. Can you guess which button opens the door? The odd one out is the tomato because all the others are fruits, so it should open the door. A priceless crystal disappeared from the local science museum. The thief left no trace behind. After analyzing the museum's security cameras, Matt invites 3 suspects for an interrogation. The security guard says, "I only left my post once during lunchtime. I can swear that the crystal was still there when I came back." The museum curator says, "I spent the day guiding a tour of foreign scientists. They came to see the crystal at the beginning of the tour. It was still shining bright in its place." One of the visitors says, "I only popped in for a quick visit. I didn't even pass through the room where the crystal was kept." After hearing their stories, Matt knows for sure who the thief is. What about you? It was the visitor. He hid the crystal in his sleeve. Matt's brother Greg arrives at his house to eat together. He yells, "Matt, the microwave is on, and it's already defrosting our dinner!" Greg hears Matt's reply from the bathroom. "Could you please check the microwave and let me know how much time is left?" Greg grabs his phone and calls the police. He reports a dangerous situation involving his brother. How did he know? Greg is blind, so his brother would have asked him to look at the microwave because Matt knows that Greg can't see. This made Greg suspicious, and that's why he called the police. The next day, Matt wakes up in a secret abandoned lab. He wanders around and finds 3 doors leading to freedom, but each door is hiding an unpleasant surprise. Here's a creepy monster sitting in a cage behind the first door. It's very hungry and angry. There's a bunch of venomous snakes crawling behind the second door, and the lights are off, so Matt won't be able to see them. And behind the door, there's a huge fire. Which way is more or less safe? He should choose the first door. The monster is in a cage, so Matt can just pass by and escape. Matt manages to escape and enters the nearest gas station. He spots 3 odd things about this place right away. Can you see them too? The poster with the engine oil advertisement offers a 0% discount. The cashier has an octopus tentacle instead of hands. See this package of chips? It says they have the flavor of spiders. That's weird. The cashier agrees to help Matt get home if he manages to solve his riddle.
I came first on Earth, but second in heaven. I also come twice a week, but I'm found just once a year. I stay away for months, but you can find me in February. What am I?
The correct answer is the letter E. Matt returns home and finds out that someone has left homemade cookies on the kitchen table. He examines all the doors and windows. He finds no signs of a break-in. Matt decides to question 3 suspects who have a key. His mother says, "I spent all day with my yoga teacher, and my class ended 10 minutes ago, so I didn't have time for cookies." The plumber says, "I fixed the kitchen sink in the morning and left for home. Why would I bring you any gifts?" And Matt's girlfriend, Erica, says, "I visited your house a couple of hours ago to drop off some shopping bags and left for the gym. I didn't see any cookies." Who's lying? The plumber. Take a closer look at the kitchen sink. It has no tap. Therefore, he lied. Matt is walking in the local restaurant and gets lost in a maze. He has only 15 seconds to get out before it starts raining. Can you help him find the right direction? Ready to see the answer? Here's the correct route. Sally, Nellie, and Kelly are hanging out at the beach. They play volleyball and have a lot of fun. But then their ball flies away into the bushes. Nellie leaves the playground to bring it back, and she never comes back. Kelly and Sally look everywhere, but Nellie is gone. They begin to panic and call the police. Detective Bold arrives quickly, finds 3 suspects, and questions them. Bill says, "I've been chilling here since morning, but I didn't notice anything." Kyle says, "I arrived here just now, so I have no idea what's going on." And Mike says, "I was diving in the sea and watching the corals." Can you figure out the kidnapper? It's Kyle. He's wearing the same cap as Nellie. It seems too small for his head. That's because Kyle kidnapped Nellie and stole her cap. Sally returns to the apartment building where she lives. Wow, there's a basket with a cute little kitten on her porch. Sally takes 2 pictures to send them to her friends. Can you spot 3 differences between them? Here they are. Sally wants to know who brought the kitten, so she interrogates her neighbors. Tom says,
I've been playing video games since early morning. I didn't leave my place at all.
Tim says, "I've been working out and I haven't left my apartment yet." Tyler says, "I stayed home all day too. I was too busy playing basketball." Who's lying? Tyler. He's playing with a soccer ball, not a basketball. Moreover, it's pretty hard to play basketball alone inside the apartment. Sally goes to the supermarket to buy some milk for the kitten. Only these 3 packs of milk are left on the shelf. Can you help Sally choose the best option? The second milk expired 2 centuries ago, and the third milk carton is bloated, which means that it has already turned sour. Therefore, Sally should grab the first milk. Sally has been working as a cab driver for several years. One day, a police officer finds Sally unconscious in her car. Someone attacked her and stained the car with glue. The officer checks Sally's app account. Sally had quarrels with 3 clients recently, so he interrogates them. Rob says, "I took a cab to the university. When we arrived, Sally asked me to pay extra money for parking, and we had a brief quarrel, but I wouldn't put my future career at risk for a couple of dollars." Karen says, "Yesterday, I received an emergency call. My husband got to the hospital, so I needed to get there as soon as possible. But Sally was driving very slowly. That's why we had a quarrel." And Mrs. Green says, "I was returning home from the supermarket after grocery shopping. Sally asked for extra money for helping me with the bags. I didn't like it." After hearing their stories, the officer knows for sure who's guilty. What about you? Take a closer look at Sally's car. It's parked near the hospital, which means that Karen's trip was the last one before the attack. Therefore, she did it. Sally is feeling much better and she gets back to work. She needs to pick up her client at a restaurant. Her app offers 3 possible routes, but only one of them will actually bring her to the desired destination. Can you guess which one? Sally should choose the second route. Sally parks her car near the restaurant and faces the following scene. One of these ladies has a ghost mother. Can you guess who? The second lady is a ghost mother. Take a look at her mother's face. She's even younger than her daughter, which means that time has stopped for her a long time ago. Moreover, she leans over a candle without any fear of an open flame. Sally wants to visit her boyfriend Ken at his office, but the front door is locked. Can you help Sally figure out the 5-digit code? Let's take a closer look at these scratches. These are hints. All Sally needs to do is count the number of intersections. So the code is 23504. Finally, Sally gets inside Ken's lab. He shows her a spaceship from another galaxy. Ken found it and managed to repair everything except the dashboard. How should these wires be connected to make it work? Here, we see unfamiliar symbols from another galaxy. Our task is to determine which word each symbol corresponds to. These dots are put in the same places as the tails of some letters. This way, we can find a match for each word and connect the wires. Suddenly, Sally gets sick. She has a headache and a sore throat. Ken only has 4 pills that are identical to each other. They don't have any cover or instructions. So there's no way he can identify which pill serves that purpose. The only thing he knows is that 2 of these 4 pills will cure the throat and the remaining 2 will help with the headache. Sally should take 1 of each kind to heal. What should she do? The only solution available is to cut each pill in half, and then take 1/2 from each of the 4 pills. This way, she'll definitely have 1 pill of each kind. Ken offers Sally to live together. They begin to look for a new apartment and arrange 3 meetings with landlords. Each tells a story about their property. Mrs. Gray says, "I inherited this amazing apartment from my sister, but now I want to rent it for the long term because I'm moving to a farm with my husband." Oliver says, "I've been living in this property for 5 years, and it's in perfect condition. But now I'm moving abroad for work. So I'd like to find good tenants who will take care of it." And Rose says, "This apartment belongs to my mother-in-law. She lives in Europe and asked me to find new tenants." Only one of these landlords is trustworthy. Can you guess who? There's an advertisement near Mrs. Gray's apartment. This property is for sale. Therefore, she probably lied about the long-term lease. And now, let's take a closer look at Oliver's ceiling. It's leaking. Therefore, his apartment is not in perfect condition. Liar! Sally's kitten ran away. She's been looking for her pet all day long. Suddenly, Sally meets her neighbor holding her kitten. He says, "I'll give your pet back only if you crack my riddle. I'm the last thing you take off when you go to bed. What am I?" Ready to hear the correct answer? I'm your feet, and you take them off the floor. Sally brings her kitten to the vet for a checkup. There, she meets 2 doctors, but only one of them is a real vet doctor. Can you spot who exactly? Real doctors usually wear gloves at work, but the guy on the left doesn't wear any, although he's holding a dog. Sally wants to get a job in a magic shop. The owner gives her a test assignment to find a love potion on this shelf. Sally is very confused because the recipes are too complicated. Luckily, Sally's possible future coworker, Glenda, agrees to give Sally a hint. She provides her with a bunch of recipes, and now Sally needs to figure out the correct one by herself. She only knows that a love potion should contain these 5 ingredients. Can you help her find the right bottle? Only the 3rd bottle has all the required ingredients, so Sally should grab it. Sally succeeds and gets the job. Now her task is to go to the storage and find a fake mirror. Can you help her? Only the 2nd mirror shows the correct reflection, so the remaining 2 are fake. Sally and Glenda get hungry and order some food. Their meals are almost identical, but in fact, they have 3 differences. Can you spot them? Here they are. Joshua and Jeremy were going on a hiking trip to Adventure Mountains. They were about to leave their room to catch their train, but there's something wrong here. Can you spot the oddity? Well, they're going hiking, but Joshua is wearing shiny business shoes. Those'll be too slippery on the mountains. Once they arrived at the train station, Jeremy realized that he had forgotten the tickets. They went to the ticket sales booth to explain their situation. The salesman told them he might be able to give them new tickets only if they could answer his riddle correctly.
I stand tall, yet I never walk. With rocky peaks, I love to talk. Above the clouds, my head does rise. What am I that touches the skies?
Can you figure out the answer? It's a mountain. During the train ride, Joshua and Jeremy were enjoying the beautiful scenery from the window. But then, suddenly, Jeremy screamed. Can you tell why? Take a look at the birds flying in the distance. Were you able to spot the small dragon flying with them? Well, Jeremy did. Joshua and Jeremy finally arrived at their destination. Before they started climbing up, they wanted to make sure their water bottles were full for the entirety of the hike. They saw 3 different drinking fountains from where they could fill their bottles. Take a look at them and tell me which ones they should pick. If you look closer at the first fountain, you can see a snake's tongue sticking out in the water flowing from the fountain tap. That's gross. And the second fountain's water has a slightly yellow hue. That's a no from me, so they should pick the third fountain. Jeremy and Joshua were finally ready to begin their hike. There were 3 different hiking trails they could follow. They wanted to choose the longest trail to be able to spend more time on the mountain. Take a look at the hiking trail map. You have 10 seconds to tell me which trail is the longest. It's the second trail. During their hike, Jeremy wanted to take some photos for his social media account, so they decided to go off-path, deep into the forest. But suddenly, an elf stopped them and said,
I am the guardian of this forest. I won't allow you to walk any further. Unless you know the answer to this riddle. I have cities but no houses, forests but no trees, and rivers but no water. What am I?
Do you know the answer? It's a map. It became dark before Jeremy and Joshua could get back on the hiking trail. They decided to spend the night in the forest, just in case. Can you help them pick which tree they should build their tent under? Do you see the snake hole here next to the second tree? The consequences would be disastrous if they built their tent above it. And as for the third tree, there's a bee's nest on one of the branches, so it wouldn't be wise to pick that one. That's why they should pick the first tree. After completing their adventure and returning to their hotel room, Jeremy and Joshua started comparing the photos they had taken. But Joshua noticed that there were 5 differences in the photos they took at the same place. Take a look at them both here. Can you spot them? In the first photo, the mountaintop view is covered with snow, but that's not the case in the second photo. Secondly, the logo that Jeremy's t-shirt has in the first photo is different in the second photo. Thirdly, in the second photo, a pair of glowing eyes can be seen in between the trees, which doesn't exist in the first photo. Creepy. As for the fourth difference, in the first photo, Joshua is holding 2 of his trekking poles. But in the second photo, he's only holding 1. And lastly, in the first photo, there are 2 cable cars riding to the top of the mountain. But in the second photo, there's only 1. Arya's favorite pop star, Peyton Swiftly, was coming to town to give a concert, and Arya really wanted to go. Unfortunately, tickets were sold out very fast, and Arya couldn't get one. However, after one of the ticket buyers returned their ticket, the ticket website announced they would give the ticket for free to the person who knew the answer to this riddle. I'm full of keys, but I can't open any locks. What am I? Can you help Arya out? The answer is a piano. Elsa was working at the HR department, and she was going to interview 3 candidates for the company's project manager position. But as soon as Elsa greeted them, she noticed that one of them was not human. Can you tell who? It's the second guy. He's not blinking at all. 2 pregnant ladies attended the pregnancy yoga class at the gym. But as they were preparing for the class, the yoga instructor noticed that one of them was actually a robot working undercover to study humans. Can you guess who? The second lady is holding an inflatable fitness ball. The weight indicated on the ball is probably just a joke because air cannot weigh that much. Meanwhile, the first lady broke the scales. She's very petite despite being pregnant. If she was a human, her weight wouldn't be able to break these scales. Brandon finally convinced his dad to give money to him to go camping with his friends, with only one condition. He wanted Brandon to send him a photo from the camping trip every day. But the first day he sent him a photo, his father could tell that Brandon lied to him, and he didn't go camping at all. How did he know? Brandon clearly photoshopped himself because everyone else in the photo has shadows, but Brandon doesn't. It was Annabelle's mother's birthday, and she wanted to place a secret gift in her mother's office as a surprise. But when she arrived there, unfortunately, the office door was locked. But luckily, her mom was kind of forgetful, and that's why she left a note with a hint for herself. Take a look at it. Can you figure out the combination? Each number is the number of lines in the respective letter. There are 3 lines in the letter K. There are 2 lines in the letter L. There are 4 lines in the letter E, and there is only 1 line in the letter I. So, following the same logic, there are 4 lines in M, 2 lines in V, 3 lines in Z, and 3 lines in F. That makes the combination 4, 2, 3, 3. Casey wanted a new hobby for herself, So she decided to learn knitting and crocheting. She went to the crafting store to buy supplies. For her beginner's project, she needed to buy a green yarn, size 7 knitting needles, and a pattern book. Take a look inside the store. Can you help her find all these items? Here's the green yarn, here are the number 7 knitting needles, and here is the pattern book. Jackson went hiking in the woods, but when his cell phone ran out of battery, he couldn't use his navigation and got lost. He walked for hours and started to feel exhausted and hungry. Luckily, he finally came across a farmhouse with lots of apple trees. He wanted to pick an apple and rest there while he ate it. But then, suddenly the owner of the farm stopped him and said,
"This is private property. You're stealing my fruits. But I'll let you eat that apple if you can answer my riddle correctly. I can fly without wings. I can cry without eyes. Wherever I go, darkness follows me. What am I?"
The answer is a cloud. Bella is planning a workshop for hairdressers. She needs a model with natural hair color. Bella gets messages from 3 candidates, Kelly, Shelly, and Sally. She looks through their social media and finds out that only one of these ladies didn't lie. Can you guess who has natural hair color? Kelly has gray roots, so she dyes her hair. Shelly has yellow blonde hair. It looks pretty natural, but it proves nothing. Meanwhile, Sally has red hair. And she has family pictures that show that her parents and siblings have the same hair color. So, Bella should choose Sally. The next day, Bella goes hiking with her friends, Jeff and Kim. They're hanging out on a high rock. Can you spot who's in danger? Bella is blindfolded and she's approaching a cliff break. Jeff is digging with a shovel, but there are electrical wires underneath. And Kim is just trying to feed a squirrel, but everyone is in danger. Bella can fall down, Jeff can get electrocuted, and the squirrel can bite Kim. Bella enters a cave to take some pictures, but suddenly an earthquake occurs. The exit is now blocked with stones. Bella looks around and finds 3 passages leading outside. There's a hungry wolf inside the first tunnel. The second passage is filled with toxic mushrooms. Just one bite can be fatal for any human. And inside the third tunnel, there's a water-filled tank with a shark. Which way is more or less safe? Bella should choose the second passage. The mushrooms are only dangerous when eaten. No one is forcing Bella to eat them. Bella is walking back home and sees a lonely dog on a playground. One of these guys is its owner. Can you guess who? The dog belongs to the second guy. He's skimming a newspaper to be able to look after his dog. Also, he's holding a collar that matches the dog's size. Meanwhile, another man is scrolling his feed on the phone and pays no attention at all. Bella arrives at work. She's been trying to open the door leading to her office, but it's locked. Someone changed the 4-number combination. Can you help her crack the passcode? There's the word hide written next to the door. If we replace each letter with its serial number in the alphabet, we'll get the code 8945. Bella opens the beauty salon, looks around, and spots 3 weird things about this place. Can you see them too? The mirror doesn't reflect reality. There's a spoon in this box of combs, and this unplugged hairdryer is working. Bella hears weird sounds from the street. She looks out the window and sees two women and one man arguing. One of the ladies is his wife. Can you guess who? The man and the lady in a yellow shirt have matching rings. Therefore, she's his wife. 3 clients arrive at the beauty salon and ask for old-fashioned hairstyles. Bella takes a look at them and spots a ghost right away. What about you? The first lady is dressed up as a ghost, but she's wearing jeans underneath her costume, so she's probably an actress. The third lady looks like an ordinary person with conservative tastes. But take a closer look at the second lady's feet. They don't touch the floor, so she's the ghost. Bella goes to the nearest store to buy some food for lunch. She sees 3 women in a line. Only one of them is a mother. Can you guess who? The first woman has a cart full of goods including diapers, but the size is big, so they're for elderly people. The third lady is buying fireworks, soda, and red cups. But it proves nothing. She's probably just going to throw a party. Meanwhile, the second lady has a stain on her dress and she looks pretty sleepy, so she's a mother. Bella moves on to the next store. There's a line with 3 customers, and one of them is a thief. Can you guess who? The third guy is wearing an oversized sweater, but he's innocent. Meanwhile, the second guy in a hoodie hid the stolen goods in his hood. The next morning, Bella wakes up in an abandoned house. A creepy voice says,
I'll set you free if you guess the password correctly.
"Can you help her escape?" Take a look at the letters on the wall. We can rearrange them into a dream house. Bella is meeting her best friend Kyle in a restaurant. He's about to introduce her to his future wife, Nellie. But Nellie has a twin sister, Kelly, who's also attending the dinner. Can you help Bella figure out which lady is Kyle's fiancée, Nellie? The twins look exactly the same, but Nellie has a heart-shaped necklace. Bella is watching the videos of her favorite travel bloggers. One of these guys is a millionaire, while the other one is broke. Can you guess who is who? The first guy is broke. He photoshopped himself into this picture on the beach. The palm trees have shadows directed to the left. Meanwhile, his own shadow is directed to the right. Why would a millionaire fake his vacation? Today, Bella's beauty salon celebrates its 5th birthday. She invited a lot of friends, including her boyfriend, Tim. Before the event, she calls Bella, saying, "I'm at work, but I promise to be at the party at 9 o'clock. Tim comes over in 9 hours and 3 minutes. He brings pretty flowers and chocolates. But Bella bursts into tears because she's very mad. Why? Bella was expecting her boyfriend to arrive at 9 p.m., but he came at 9 a.m. the next morning. 2 ladies show up at Bella's beauty salon. One of them is super rich. Can you guess who? The second lady is a bag designer. The first lady is wearing her brand. So, the second one must be really rich. Bella is attending Kyle's wedding. All of his friends show up looking rich and fabulous. Mike has a bunch of expensive gadgets. Chuck is wearing a brandy suit, and Lily is driving an exclusive sports car. But only one of them is really rich. Can you guess who? Take a closer look at Chuck's suit. He didn't remove the price tag, so he's probably planning on returning it after the wedding. This fancy sports car doesn't belong to Lily. It's rented. Therefore, Mike is the richest person here. There are too many guests at the wedding for such a small cake. But Bella manages to grab a slice. She puts a plate with her cake on a table and leaves for 5 minutes to wash her hands. Then she comes back and sees an empty plate. Bella questions 3 guests. Alice says, "I've been dancing non-stop for the last 2 hours. I didn't eat anything." Chuck says, "It wasn't me who ate the cake. I'm on a sugar-free diet. But I guess it was Alice. I don't trust her." Lily says, "I didn't touch your cake. I was helping the bride braid her hair." Who's lying? Take a closer look at the bride's hairstyle. She doesn't have any braids. Therefore, Lily's story is fake. The wedding is going well, but at some point the bride notices that her diamond ring is missing. The robber manages to escape from the wedding, and he's hiding nearby. Can you spot him? He's over here. The next morning, Bella arrives at her beauty salon. Oh no! Someone stained the walls with paint. Bella finds 3 suspects and questions them. Molly replies, "I spent the last 3 days in another state at my parents' house. You can ask them if you don't believe me." Kelly says, "Yesterday I stayed here after closing to dye my hair. Sheila was helping me with my black roots. But then we left." And Sheila says, "Yesterday I was feeling sick and left earlier. The walls were fine." Who's lying? Kelly. She said she dyed her black roots, but they're still there.
Hannah runs a dance show. She arrived in Finland with the 3 best dancers to perform during the winter holidays. On the first day of the trip, Hannah started to feel really bad and was taken to the doctor. After examining Hannah, the doctor claimed that someone had poisoned the girl. Hannah's manager flew in to interrogate each one of the dancers and find out if they'd had anything to do with what happened to Hannah. Kira said that she and the other girls had left the hotel early in the morning to explore the city. She also mentioned that Hannah had stayed behind to do a conference call in her room. Pam said she had spent the afternoon swimming at the beach, and that when she returned, she noticed Hannah was looking pretty bad. April said she decided to go to the museum all by herself since the other girls didn't want to join her. Hannah's manager noticed the girls' testimonies didn't match, and that it was definitely one of them who'd done it. Can you guess who is the culprit? It was Pam.
Oh, no.
She mentioned she'd gone to the beach, but it's wintertime in Finland. The water is freezing and mainly frozen this time of the year. She should have worked better on her alibi.
Oh no!
Hannah's manager called the police, and they arrested Pam. Kira and April felt bad for their friend, but they still had to put on a show, and now they were a dancer short. The girls decided to look online for a new dancer. They found 3 girls who might do a good job at replacing Pam. Deborah, Lily, and Sally. One of the girls is a perfect match for the trio. Can you guess who? It's Sally. Both of the other profiles are fake. If you look closely at Deborah's picture, you'll see that the shadow on the back is not hers. It's definitely photoshopped. And look at Lily's birthday information. If that were true, she wouldn't have been born yet. Keith was a singer, and he was going to perform at Bath's House of Performing Arts. He was taking all of his equipment backstage to get ready for a sound check when a police officer ran into the room. The officer said that one of the actors from that night's show was a runaway criminal. There were 4 actors playing Santa Claus, but one of them was a fake. Take a look at their bags. Can you figure out who the criminal is? It's the owner of the 3rd bag. Santa never shaves off his beard, and that guy is carrying shaving cream. He must be the runaway. Becky just bought new augmented reality goggles. She decided to play one of the games available, and this picture popped up right in front of her. These 3 people sure are in some bizarre situations, but which one doesn't make any sense? The man on the left is walking on lava. Sure, someone can do that, although it won't last for too long without the right kind of shoes. The man on the right is walking on desert sand, which is fully normal. But the woman in the middle looks like she is walking on burning water. That definitely doesn't make any sense. Felicity was 10 weeks pregnant when she decided to try a new doctor in town. The doctor did an ultrasound of her belly and gladly said, "Ah, it's a boy." Felicity looked confused and said, "No, I'm pretty sure I'm having twins." The doctor was the one that looked confused after Felicity's answer. Take a look at both women. Can you tell who's right? Felicity is right. I mean, take a look at this doctor. She isn't even a real doctor in the first place. She's not wearing proper medical attire, and she doesn't look like she knows what she is doing. Alex watched one too many Indiana Jones movies and decided to go to Egypt to explore ancient monuments. He spent days and days walking underground to try to find something valuable. One morning, when exploring a crypt, he ran into a huge wall full of symbols. Among the symbols, there was an encrypted message. It went like this: sun plus sun equals sign, moon plus moon equals sign, wave plus wave equals sign. Can you help Alex figure out the encoded message? This is not an easy one, but here's how it works. Sun has 3 letters, moon has 4 letters, and waves has 5 letters. So the encrypted message is the number sequence. 6, 8, 10. Way to go, you. Take a good look at this image. Can you tell who is smarter? Let's see. There's a part of the house on fire, so ice would be a bad way to try to extinguish it. You would have to wait for the ice to melt into water. But during that time, the fire just grows. Liquid water is the best medium for rapid extinguishment, so the person on the right looks like they know what they are doing. Aura had been searching for the entrance to Bythia, a hidden city inside a mountain, for ages. She searched the 7 seas and the 7 lands until she finally found a hidden door, guarded by 3 ancient creatures. She asked them if this was the entrance to Bythia, but they wouldn't say a word. Finally, the wise owl said she had to give a correct answer to a riddle from each creature, and only then they would tell her about Bythia. The wise owl said, "I have branches, yet I'm not a tree. I have a bank, yet I hold no money. What am I? Can you help Aura out?" The correct answer is a river. A river has branches that flow into different streams, and the sides of the river are called riverbanks. The fox was up next, and his riddle said, "I have a bed, yet I don't sleep. I have a mouth, yet don't eat. What am I?" Aura took a while to figure this one out, but she got it right. Can you guess what she said? It's an oven, duh. Pretty obvious now that you think of it. Up next was the deer. He said, "I have a face, yet no eyes to see. I have a tail, yet no ability to wag. What am I?" Do you know how to answer this one? It's a clock. A clock has a face with numbers but no eyes, and it has a tail that we call a pendulum, but it doesn't wag like an animal's tail. The wise owl opened the door and showed Aura that there were 3 pathways leading to Bethia. She should choose the correct one, otherwise she would get stuck in this in-between place forever and would never be able to get out. Take a look at the pathways. Which one should Aura choose to complete her journey? The first pathway looks like it has some poisonous flowers. The air looks like it's filled with their poisoned pollen, so that wouldn't be a nice one to go. The second pathway has dozens of angry-looking stags that could harm Aura, and the last one has a big lake that leads into a trail. She should go with the last one. On a rainy Saturday night, John and Katie decided to stay in, order pizza, and watch the Riddle channel on their TV. On the screen, they saw a man hanging for his life on the branch of a tree. He was surrounded by angry people. Down below, there were a group of guys with huge bats waiting for him to let go of the branch, and above him was an angry guy on a helicopter ready to grab him. Is there any way the guy can escape this trap? He should throw the bat that's in his pocket to the floor, aiming at the group below him. Hopefully, it would hit the guys below on the head, so he could let go of the branch and run as fast as he could into that nearby tunnel. This way, he'd escape the helicopter dude as well. It's Lily's birthday, and Leah offered to treat her to a spa day. They arrived at the marvelous Pink Lotus Boutique Spa for their day of treatment and were sent to different rooms. One of the women received a text on their phone saying, "Be careful. Take a look at the image. Can you tell which friend is in danger?" It's Lily. The drink on that waiter's tray is definitely poisoned. She should get out of that place as fast as she can. Hello. Jonah woke up in a different timeline. Normally, he was a straight A student, but in this reality, he was a pretty bad student. His teacher put him in detention to see if his grades would get any better. During detention time, he had to solve some puzzles. For each puzzle he solved, he got points that would help him raise his grade. His first task was to find the difference between both images. He only had a few seconds, though. Can you help? Yep, that one on the right didn't have the scribble on the paper. For his next detention challenge, Jonah had to spot the difference between these 2 rabbits riding a motorcycle. Don't ask too many questions, just help him out. Yep, it was the helmet all along. Dana is a swimming champion preparing for her competition on Monday. 24 hours before the big day, she disappears. Nobody can find her. Her mother calls the police and asks them to investigate the crime, and they come up with 3 suspects. All of them are swimmers. Hannah says she hasn't spoken to Dana since their last practice. Ashley explains that she invited Dana for lunch on Saturday, but Dana refused because she was getting her hair done for the competition. And Melanie says that she spoke to Dana the night before. Dana told her that she was feeling anxious before the race. One of the swimmers is lying. Who is it? I mean, it's definitely Ashley. It doesn't make sense for a swimmer to get her hair done before a swimming match. It will get wet anyways. Daniel is a sailor on a large cruise ship. One day the captain asked him to go to the ship's lowest deck and get some supplies. But as the man was walking down the ladder, it broke and he fell down. Try as he might, he couldn't get out. And oh no! The situation was worse than he thought. There was a hole on the ship's hulk, and water was starting to fill the lower decks. Take a look around. Is there anything Daniel can do to save himself? Yep, he could put on a life jacket and wait for the water to fill the lower deck. He will simply float upwards, and then he can climb up those stairs again. I mean, if that ship doesn't go all Titanic, right?
Yeah.
Amelie was exploring her grandmother's closet when she came across something spectacular. A time machine. She set the date back to the 16th century and pressed go. She spent the day exploring a local market, but people kept looking at her differently. One man came up to her and said he knew she was a time traveler. He locked her in his basement and said he was going to look for where she hid the time machine. Amelie was so frustrated she got caught and was afraid she might never go back to her real life. That's when she saw that the basement had an old piano. Do you have any clue how Amelie can use that piano to escape? That's a tricky one, but she should play it until she finds the right key. You decided you needed to go on an adventure, so you packed your backpack and went hiking the Appalachian Trail. The thing is, since this was your first hike ever, you planned poorly. Your water only lasted for a day, and you needed a refill. There are 4 sources of water before you: a pond, a lake, a juicy cactus, and a stream. Which one should you drink water from? Most cacti are toxic, so you should keep away from them. The waters from the pond and the lake are stagnant water, so this means they could be filled with stuff that isn't good for you. So that leaves the stream water. Way to go, you. Oh, yeah. It's getting rather late, and you realize you're lost in the middle of the forest. Your phone's GPS is not working, and you're standing at a fork in the road. You can choose between 4 roads leading north, south, west, or east. The path that heads north will lead you to a black hole. The road that leads south goes through a lake full of huge whale sharks. The one that leads east passes through a crater-sized hole. And the one that leads west will take you to a sky-high mountain that is impossible to climb over. Which way will you choose? You should head south. Whale sharks pose no threat to people, and it's probably not true that they exist inside that lake. I mean, they are sea creatures. Harry has spent the last 2 weeks in Egypt exploring ancient pyramids. He's an archaeologist, and he was looking for some groundbreaking discoveries on the history of the mummies. Inside one of the pyramids, he found a secret chamber. Written on this chamber's walls was this: if one can answer correctly, an ancient secret will be revealed. And right below this, Harry found a riddle. The next answer that should escape your lips should be the creature wrapped up in cloth strips. Can you guess what Harry should answer? Mummy! He should simply say the word mummy. Tom escaped from prison by digging a long tunnel in the floor of his cell. He had been crawling through the underground tunnel for 3 hours when he saw that the main tunnel was divided into 3 smaller ones. The first tunnel was on fire. The second tunnel was home to a nest of venomous snakes, and the third tunnel was filled with explosives. Which tunnel should Tom take to continue his prison break? He should choose the tunnel with fire. He can put the fire out with the dust from the ground and make his way to freedom.
Yeah!
Sierra wanted to go to her favorite band's concert, but she didn't have enough money to buy the tickets. Her local radio station was putting on a contest, and the winner would get tickets to the show. All she had to do was answer their riddle correctly. She called the radio station, and they asked her, "Every night I'm told what to do, and each morning I do what I'm told. But I still can't escape your scold. What am I?" Sierra won the tickets. Can you guess what she answered? The correct answer is an alarm clock. Sounds just about right, doesn't it? Amy woke up on an estranged island. She looked everywhere for something that could help her escape and found nothing. In the following days, she continued to look for something that could give her some direction and came across 3 torn pieces of paper that could be joined to make one. She put everything together and managed to escape the island by water using no other resources than the things she found. Can you figure out how she managed to do that? This one is tricky. Nothing was the name of the boat she found abandoned on the island.
Ooh.
Then she found torn pieces of paper that together made up a map. The map helped to guide her to the nearest inhabited island, and the boat helped her get out by water.
Yes!
Mirabelle walked into her father's deli and asked for a sandwich to go. When she looked to her right, she noticed something extremely out of the ordinary. Take a look at this image. Can you tell what it was? A turtle is hiding under the counter. This sure isn't normal.
Yeah.
Hey, my dear detective, I need your help today. Or rather, not me, but Gemma. She works as a manager at a large supermarket, and one morning, she receives a strange message. There's a thief among your customers. Beware.
Oh,
Gemma
no.
runs out of her office and sees 3 people who look suspicious. Can you help Gemma figure out who the real shoplifter is? It's the guy in the middle. If his arm was really broken, he wouldn't be able to carry that blanket. Mark's boss gave him a task to bring some important documents from his house. But when the guy arrived, he saw that the door was locked. And to get inside, he needed a password. Mark saw a sequence of numbers. 1347118. He needed to figure out the next 4 digits. They would make up the password. Can you help the guy? One and 3 together gives us 4, which is the next number. 3 and 4 are 7. Here it is. 4 plus 7 is 11. Then 7 plus 11 is 18. So the next digits are 2 and 9. 29. Since that's what you get when you add 18 to 11. And 18 plus 29 is 47. So the password is 2947. Detective Lars was chasing a criminal who had robbed a jewelry store. But the criminal managed to hide in a women's clothing store and put on a female outfit. Can you help the officer find the thief among these ladies? This elegant woman on the right is wearing the same sneakers as the criminal did during the robbery. Lauren was an archaeologist exploring ancient pyramids. Once she got lost and found herself locked in a tiny room. The worst thing was that as soon as she got into the room, the door she had entered through got blocked by a rock slide. No one knew where Lauren was. She had to get out of there on her own. The woman saw another door, but it was locked. To open it, she had to solve a riddle and enter the correct 4-digit code. Can you help Lauren figure out the code? Each digit of the code is the number of letters in the alphabet that stand between the letters in the riddle. So, we've got 5, 1, 3, and 9. That's the code Lauren needs to enter. Now let's check how attentive to detail you are. How does this colorful cube look from above? The correct variant is picture number 4. The next task, try to find all the differences between these two pictures. If you found 3 differences, congrats! Even Sherlock Holmes would be jealous of your attention skills. The evening before his girlfriend's birthday, Michael arrived at her office quite late to decorate her desk. He pretended to be a pizza delivery guy to get past the security. But when Michael finished with the decorations, he realized that the building was closed. But the worst thing was that all the guards had already left. If the guy just opened the door, the alarm would go off and the police would arrive right away. Michael found a locker with a few tangled wires inside. One of them turned off the alarm, another was responsible for fire detectors, and the last one turned the cameras off. Which wire should the guy cut? The green one. It'll turn the alarm off. Don't let this riddle baffle you. It's not as difficult as it may seem at first. Take your time, write down some notes, and you'll crack it in no time.
Yeah.
A small town is visited by an ice cream truck every day. On Friday, the truck comes as usual. 5 children, one from each of the first 5 houses on the street, buy different kinds of ice cream. Each of the treats has a different flavor and a completely different topping. Listen attentively to the details and try to figure out which child lives in which house and brought which ice cream flavor with which topping. Jim lives between the child who got raspberry topping and the child who bought mango ice cream. Joyce, whose house has an even number, chose cherry topping. Nancy does not live next to Joyce. Black currant ice cream had no topping. The child who lives in house number 2 bought butterscotch ice cream. The child from house number 3 did not get chocolate ice cream. Mike had banana ice cream, but he doesn't like banana cherry topping. The child who had cashew topping lives in house number 5. Dustin does not live in house number 4. Keep in mind that the odd number houses and the even numbered houses are located on opposite sides of the street. So, here's the answer. Jim lives in house number 3, and he bought blackcurrant ice cream with no topping. Dustin lives in house number 2, and he got butterscotch ice cream with banana cherry topping. Nancy lives in house number 5, and she had mango ice cream with cashew. Joyce lives in house number 4, and he bought chocolate ice cream with cherry topping. Mike lives in house number 1, and he got banana ice cream with raspberry. A long time ago, a king ruled the great kingdom of Trojan House. As part of the renovation of the kingdom to meet new security needs, he asked his chief architect to create a new construction plan. The king's idea was that all of his 10 castles should be connected with 5 straight walls, and each wall must connect 4 castles together. He also told the architect that at least one of the castles should be protected with walls from all sides. The architect could not come up with any solution, but he suggested the best plan he could think of. Here it is. Can you find a better solution? That's the solution the king will like much more. As you see, in this case, not 1 but 2 castles are protected from all sides. 12-year-old Adam knew his older brother Philip, who was 20 years old, got some money for his birthday. But however hard Adam tried, he couldn't find it. One day when Philip was away, the boy sneaked into his brother's room. There was no money, but Adam found a map. His brother had hidden his cash in the garden. Adam followed the instructions to a T. 10 steps to the left, 15 to the right, then 8 straight ahead. It must be here. The boy started to dig. He wasted 2 hours and still found nothing. Did Philip trick his brother? Due to their age and size difference, Adam's steps were smaller than his brother's. That's why he was looking for the money in the wrong place. Jason, a rich traveler, stayed in a small but expensive hotel at the seaside. During a severe storm with gale-force winds, there was a blackout. The whole area was plunged into darkness. People stayed without electricity for at least 2 hours. The problem was finally solved. But Jason discovered that during the blackout, someone had taken his wallet with a lot of cash and his credit cards. The police arrived and questioned the people who had been in the hotel at the time. Justin, the receptionist, told the detective he had been in the basement. He was trying to start an emergency generator. Unfortunately, he didn't succeed. Nicole, another guest, said she had arrived an hour before the blackout. She was exhausted. She lit several candles, unpacked, cleaned herself, and went to bed. Gregory, the hotel driver, said he'd been at the airport. A new guest had arrived and he went to pick them up. The police immediately figured out who was lying. Can you? The blackout was caused by a bad storm, and planes don't fly in such windy conditions. Then how could someone arrive by airplane? Gregory lied. Look at this picture attentively and try to figure out what's wrong here. That elderly lady is watering her plant with milk.
So, Smarty Pants, are you ready for some detective work? Great, because I happen to have some right here. Gee, what a coincidence. Yeah. Let's go! You drop a bowling ball in a bucket of water which is 45 degrees Fahrenheit. And you also drop another ball of the same weight, mass, and size in a bucket at 30 degrees Fahrenheit. If you do it at the same time, which ball will hit the bottom of the bucket first? The ball in the bucket of the 45-degree water will hit the bottom of the bucket later than the other ball. Did you think that the water had to be frozen at 30 degrees Fahrenheit? But the riddle says nothing about that bucket having anything in it. Therefore, there is no water or ice to slow the ball down. Sam is talking to his lawyer in jail. They're very upset because the judge has refused to grant bail. At the end of the conversation, Sam is allowed to leave the jail. Why? Sam is visiting his lawyer, who was arrested and jailed. Time to look for another lawyer. Mary is the owner of a bag store. One day, a young woman came in. She wanted to buy a bag. After choosing the one she liked, she asked Mary how much it was. The price was $30. The girl asked Mary to sell it for $20, and the store owner agreed. The girl gave her $50. Mary didn't have any change, so she went to her friend who worked nearby to change the bill. The friend gave Mary two $20 bills and one $10 bill. The woman gave the customer $30 and put the remaining $20 in the cash register. Just a few minutes after the buyer left, Mary's friend rushed into the store. "The bill you gave me is fake. I need my money back." Mary gave her friend her own $50. How much money did the store owner lose in total? For one thing, Mary sold the bag at a $10 discount, so she already lost this money. Then she gave the girl $30 in change, and she had to return $50 to her friend for the fake bill. One $20 bill was the one her friend had given her, so she had to add $30 of her own. In total, she lost $70. Wow, next time use a credit card, huh? Private Detective Deborah was doing some shopping at the mall. Suddenly, she heard people arguing. The woman went there and saw a stressed shop assistant and several people crowding it. The poor man had found a smartphone and made an announcement, and now several people claimed it was their phone. One man said the phone must have slipped out of his bag. A young woman said the gadget belonged to her, and an older woman shouted it was her husband's device. That's when the phone rang. For some reason, the shop assistant handed it to Deborah. The woman glanced at the screen and immediately gave the phone to the man. How did she understand whose device it was? Deborah saw the word wife written on the screen. Jenny heard about a private party which was supposed to be VIP. Celebrities and influencers were going to attend it. And guess what? Thanks to one of her friends, Jenny managed to get on the guest list.
Yay!
Before the party, the girl bought a new dress and a pretty and expensive purse. At the party, Jenny got acquainted with a very nice young man called David. They were talking when someone pushed Jenny. She didn't fall over, only thanks to David's fast reaction. But she noticed that her purse was gone.
No.
David rushed to catch the thief. He spotted a guy hanging around the entrance. "What are you doing here?" The man answered that he was looking for an ATM. He needed cash to buy a ticket for the party. David told the man to hand Jenny's purse over or he would call the police. How did he understand the man was the thief? This is an A-list event. You can't just buy a ticket to get there. This man is lying. The faster you run, the harder it is to catch this thing. What is it? It's your breath. Brandon's wife told him to cook several eggs, but the man had to boil them for exactly 2 minutes. She left her husband 3 hourglass timers for 3, 4, and 5 minutes. How can the man boil the eggs for exactly 2 minutes? Brandon waited until the water started to boil. Then he turned over the 3 and 5 minute timers. When the 3-minute timer ran out, he dropped the eggs into the water. And when the 5-minute timer ran out, he had his perfectly boiled eggs. Sometimes I am loved, usually by the young. Other times I am dreaded, mostly by the old ones. I'm hard to remember, also hard to forget. And yet, if you do, you'll make someone upset. I occur every day. Everyone has to face me. Even if you don't want it to happen, embrace me. What am I? A birthday. It's thin, but when water splashes it, none seeps through. When hit, it changes color. It covers an incredibly complex thing, yet it's very easy to flex. What is it? It's human skin. Look at these people. Can you figure out which one is a smuggler? It's the woman on the left. The lady on this right is really pregnant. She's just wearing a wig. But the shape of the belly of the woman on the left is weird, to say the least. One of these people stole some Pringles. Can you figure out who it was? It's this young lady. Look at her ponytail. A very strange shape. Doesn't it resemble a pack of Pringles? Now, I've got this group of people for you. One of them is a vampire. Can you figure out who it is? It's this guy sitting on the right. Have you noticed that he has no shadow? A farmer is traveling with a fox, a sheep, and a small sack of hay. He comes to a river. There's a small boat near the shore. The boat can only support the farmer and one other animal or item. If the farmer leaves the fox alone with the sheep, the fox will eat the sheep. And if the farmer leaves the sheep alone with the hay, the sheep will eat the hay. How can the farmer get all three, as well as himself, safely across the river? The farmer should take the sheep across the river. Then he should paddle back. Then he will take the fox across the river. After that, the farmer should take the sheep back to the first side of the river. Then the farmer should leave the sheep on the first side of the river and take the hay to the other side, because it's safe to leave the hay with the fox. The farmer will then return to the first side of the river and pick up the sheep. The morning after a heavy snowfall, Justin went outside and saw there was twice as much snow on the top of his garage as there was on his neighbor's. Still, Justin didn't get surprised or upset. He just smiled and continued walking. Why? Justin's garage is twice as big as his neighbor's. No wonder it has twice as much snow. Andrew and Gary are twins. They were born just 1 minute apart, and Andrew is the elder of the two. But for some mysterious reason, they celebrate their birthdays 2 days apart once every several years. How is this possible? Andrew was born at 11:59 p.m. on February 28th. It wasn't a leap year, so Gary, who appeared just 1 minute later, was already born on March 1st. That's why during leap years, they have 2 days between their birthdays. Look at these mirrors and say which one is magical. It's the one the girl in the middle is holding. Apparently, it helped her to get rid of her mole. 2 men are playing chess. They've already played 5 games, and each man has won 3 of them. How is it possible? The men are playing with different opponents, not with each other. Now, Mary and John are an ordinary young couple. One day they decided to go out of town and spend some time in nature, so they jumped in the car. While they were driving, they suddenly saw 4 hitchhiking people at a gas station. But most of them looked pretty suspicious. There was a man in tattered clothes, a woman wearing a cape, a man with a sullen face, and a teenage girl. Who should they give the ride to? Look, the woman in a cape doesn't cast a shadow. She must be a vampire. The man with the sullen face has a vampire bite on his neck, so he's now a vampire too. The teenage girl has suspicious claws, so she must be a werewolf. Thus, the man in tattered clothes is the only one who doesn't seem to be dangerous. There's a huge crime spree happening in town. The police are swarmed, and they don't have enough officers to help everyone. The citizens need you. Buckle up and think fast. You have to catch all the criminals right away. Look at the screen and find all the suspicious people in town. There are only 2 of them, actually. First off, look at this lady. Why would she wear 3 wristwatches at the same time? These must be stolen. And since she has no bag or pockets, she had to put them all on her wrist. Next, there's this bearded man. Seems like he's got a lot of jewelry hidden in his beard. Oh, that's a weird construction. Paula and Jeremy have been married for 5 years already. They had a perfect relationship and everything was great. One day, Jeremy had to leave for a business trip for a week. However, he came back home unexpectedly 2 days later. Paula instantly realized that it wasn't Jeremy and called the police. Remember the real Jeremy who took off the wedding ring before he left for a business trip? The man who showed up 2 days later was wearing one. This is what made Paula suspicious. During an Arctic expedition, an explorer found an ice cave. He went in. Suddenly, the entrance got blocked by a small avalanche. Luckily, there were 3 other passages in the cave. But here's the catch. Each passage has a warning sign for the explorers. It says that the first passage leads to a group of Yeti, the second one leads to a huge group of mammoths, and the third one leads to hungry bears. Which passage should our explorer choose? Those warning signs must be a bit outdated. Mammoths went extinct long ago, so passage 2 must be the safest option. A young man woke up in a hospital without remembering anything, including his own name. Beside his bed, there were 3 men, each of them claiming to be this young man's brother. Suddenly, the young man had a couple of flashbacks from his childhood, and he clearly remembered that he only had one brother. Who is his real brother? The man on the right seems to be his brother. He's the only one who looks like the guy in the bed, plus they have matching tattoos on their arms. Martin's an undercover detective. He's on a mission right now, and he's pretending to be one of the staff members at a luxurious resort. His mission is to follow a dangerous criminal who's planning to steal a rare piece of art from a wealthy businessman. Martin has to report the situation to his partner Steve every day. They can't use phones to communicate, so they make codes using deck chairs and umbrellas. If the robbery isn't planned for today, there should be more deck chairs than umbrellas by the pool. If the robbery is planned for today, there should be more umbrellas. Today, Steve's flying in a helicopter over the pool to check the situation. Now, look at what you see and decide whether the robbery is planned for today or not. Yes, the robbery is planned for today. There are 5 umbrellas and only 4 deck chairs. Jessica has a twin sister, Allison. Their relationship is far from perfect, and Allison always plays mean tricks on Jessica. Today is the prom, and Jessica has 3 nice dresses to choose from: a green one, a blue one, and a pink one. But when she opened her wardrobe, she saw it was a terrible mess. That must have been another nasty prank from Allison. So, what dress should Jessica wear? She should wear the pink dress. A button on the blue dress is about to come off. Oops. And the green one was spoiled with paint by Allison. Alright, a couple of short riddles to give you a break. Ready? There's something all the people in this world do simultaneously. Disclaimer, it's not about breathing. So what is it? All the people are getting older simultaneously. Are they getting any wiser? Don't know about that. There's one thing that can fly with no wings and cry even without eyes. What is it? It's a cloud. What can you see with your eyes closed? It's a dream. Okay, enough with the easy short riddles. Let's go back to hardcore mode. Emily and Mary are putting on their makeup, getting ready to go out and have fun. They use pretty much the same things. Phones look similar, the same with lipsticks, clothes, and everything else. So, who's poor? Take a closer look at Emily. Her dress kind of gives her away, since it's an obvious knockoff. A green apple costs $1, a red one costs $2, and a blue one costs $3. What apples and how many of them did Frank buy, if we know he spent $3 and 2 bills only? Frank bought a green one and a red one. He gave a $1 bill for the green one and a $2 bill for the red one. Yeah, he could have grabbed the blue one and given the same 2 bills, but blue apples just don't exist. 3 Fen, also pronounced 3 friends, fell asleep under a tree in the countryside. While they were resting, a guy passing by painted mustaches on their faces. Once the men woke up, they started to laugh. But then, all of a sudden, they stopped. Why? Well, at first, they saw the mustaches on their friends' faces and found it funny. But then, they realized their friends were laughing too. It meant that they had mustaches on their faces as well. Aunt Jean is a huge fan of cats. She lives in a 1-story house. She has cat garden statues, a cat rug, cat wallpapers, cat cushions, and even on the fridge there are cat photos. Not to mention all 30 cats that live in her house. What painting is there upstairs? She lives in a 1-story house, so there are no cat paintings upstairs. It's right next to the fridge. Anthony, the financial director of a big company, finally persuaded new partners to sign a super important agreement. He then put this document into a folder and left it on the table in his office. When he arrived at work the next morning, the folder was gone. John gathered all the employees who were in the office at that time and asked them if they had noticed anything weird. The cleaning lady said that she had been busy washing the floor and hadn't paid attention to anything around. The designer explained that he hadn't left his working place even once. What's more, being an artist, he didn't have any interest in agreement documents. The accountant admitted that he had entered John's office to have some documents signed, but once he noticed there was no one inside, he immediately left. So, who took the folder with the agreement? It was the designer. John never mentioned that the folder was gone. He just asked if they had noticed anything weird. How would he know that the missing folder had an agreement inside? Grounds for dismissal, I'd say.
Billy is a young and ambitious blogger. She's shooting a makeup tutorial for her TikTok. Can you spot anything odd here? The mirror in the background should reflect her back, not her front part. Billy gets an invitation to visit a meetup for famous influencers. This party is epic. Good music, delicious food, and beautiful people. Moreover, every VIP guest gets a bag full of expensive gifts. Suddenly, Billy sees Sebastian. He's a famous video blogger with 20 million followers. And her secret crush. Can you guess which one of these guys is Sebastian? The first guy looks pretty chic, but he has a fake bag, so it's unlikely that he's an influencer. Let's take a look at the remaining 2 guys. Sebastian has millions of followers. Therefore, he's 100% a VIP guest. Only the third guy carries the gift bag, so he's Sebastian. Billy and Sebastian fall in love, but they want to keep it a secret. That's why they spend a romantic weekend in a forest cabin away from the paparazzi. But unfortunately, someone leaked their picture, and now all the tabloids discuss their secret date. Only 3 people knew about this trip. Billy questions them. Harry, the driver, says, "I brought you to the cabin on Saturday and picked you up on Sunday, just like you asked. I didn't tell anyone because I signed a non-disclosure agreement." Billy's assistant, Amy, says, "I booked the cabin under my own name so that no one would figure out that you're hosting celebrities." And Sebastian's sister, Bianca, says, "I didn't tell anyone about your date. I was feeling sick. I had to stay home alone because my daughters were at school." Who's lying? Bianca, schools are closed on weekends. A new spa salon invites Billy over for a promotion campaign. She goes to the pedicure room and sees these 3 clients. One of them is a werewolf. Can you guess who? It's the second lady. Take a look at her feet. After the sauna, Billy goes to the shower and washes her hair. Unfortunately, someone pranked her by replacing the shampoo with paint. Can you guess who did it? The lady on the right is guilty. There's paint on her hand. Billy decides to eat in her favorite restaurant. She enters and sees these 3 guys. Can you guess who's having a date? It looks like the first guy is having a romantic dinner with his book. And the third gentleman has 1 set of dishes. Meanwhile, the second guy has 2 plates on his table and he's hiding a small gift in his pocket. So he's the only one who's waiting for his date. Sebastian invites Billy to a family dinner to introduce her to his mother, Prudence. They arrive and find her in the middle of a quarrel with the police. Prudence claims that her housemaid stole her antique pearl necklace, but the housemaid denies everything. Who's lying? Prudence. The pearls are in her hair. The next day, Billy goes hiking with her friends. They take some pictures for her blog. Can you spot 3 differences between these photos? Over here. What about these 2 pictures? Can you find 5 differences? Here they are. Billy meets her old friends. They haven't seen each other for 5 years. Billy has to make a quick phone call, and she walks outside. In a couple of minutes, she comes back and sees her friend Luna lying unconscious on the bathroom floor. There's a weird mark on her cheek. The waitress says that it looks like a vampire's bite. One of Billy's friends must have turned into a vampire. She decides to invite her friends for lunch to find out who exactly. Guys, let's have a picnic on the beach tomorrow and discuss who bit Luna. How can Billy identify the vampire? Billy should invite her friends to the beach. The one who would refuse to go there must be a vampire. Billy throws a birthday party at her house. She only eats plants. That's why she hires the most trendy cook to prepare a classy vegetarian dinner. The party goes great. Everyone has fun. The next day, Billy finds out that someone had replaced salt and sugar in her kitchen jars. Billy questions 4 suspects. The cook says, "Miss, I wouldn't have become a celebrity chef if I wasted my time on silly pranks." Dan says, "I gorged myself on chicken nuggets at the very beginning of the party. and then I stayed away from the kitchen and the food. Emma says, I think I saw someone rummaging through the kitchen when I was swimming in the pool. And Sebastian says, that wasn't me, but you should check everyone's phones. The prankster probably filmed everything. Who's lying? Damn, it was a veggie party. He couldn't have eaten the chicken nuggets. Billy wants to find her new business partners, so she's visiting a conference and meets 3 people. Each person offers Billy a collaboration. Megan says, I developed my own fashion line and I've recently launched my first offline boutique. Would you like to be the face of my brand? Jeanette says, I run the largest marketing company in the country. If you sign an exclusive contract with me, I'll find the best deals for you. And Francois says, Lady, you should sell beauty products under your own name. I can help you launch a business. Only one of these offers isn't fake. Can you guess which one? Take a closer look at Francois. He has stolen someone else's badge, so he's an imposter. And Jeanette is wearing a waitress uniform under her fancy jacket. It's unlikely that she's a company owner, so Billy should trust Megan. The next week, Megan invites Billy to a photo shoot. Billy arrives at the studio, but the door is locked. She needs to enter a 5-number code. Her phone battery has discharged, and unfortunately, she doesn't remember the code by heart. Do you have any clue what it might be? We should take a look at this poster and count the number of petals in each daisy. So the code is 58677. Billy enters the studio and sees Megan, the photographer and stylist, and a bunch of pretty clothes and shoes. Can you count the exact number of shoes in this picture? The correct answer is 13. 4 people are wearing 8 shoes, plus 5 more are scattered around the studio. The photo shoot is about to begin, but suddenly the lights turn off for 30 seconds. When the power is back again, Billy finds out that her smartwatch is missing. She questions 3 suspects. The stylist says, I was cleaning my makeup sponge when the lights turned off. I didn't move from my place. The photographer says, I have my own smartwatch. Why would I need yours? And Megan says, come on, you're a famous influencer. Why would I ruin my own reputation? Who's lying? The photographer. Billy's watch is wrapped around his camera lens. After work, Billy meets Sebastian in their favorite restaurant. They ask the waiter to take their picture. He takes 2. Can you spot 10 differences between them? Here they are. After dinner, they go for a walk. Can you spot 3 odd things here? Fish swim on the surface of this window. Also, this lady is wearing a snake instead of a scarf. And this taxi is driven by a raccoon.
I know a great way to energize your brain. A new portion of Tricky Riddles. Are you up for some detective activity? Then let's start. Brandon missed lots of lectures, and as a result, the guy had problems with his professor. The man agreed to give the student a second chance, but only if he fulfilled the task the professor had for him. I'll give you 1 glass of milk and 1 glass of water. You'll need to pour the 2 liquids into a bowl, but you should be able to separate the milk from the water later. and you can't use any kind of dividers. Brandon spent several hours mulling over the problem and cracked this riddle. What did he do? He poured all the water into the bowl and froze it. After that, he added the milk. You lose your friends in a crowd. You spend half an hour looking for them. And finally, here they are. What is the first thing you do as soon as you see them? You stop searching. Can you figure out what this rebus puzzle means? Give, 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 give. It stands for forgive. There are two towns near each other. People who always tell the truth live in one of them. Liars live in the other. The inhabitants of the town often visit each other. What question should you ask a passerby to find out which town you're in? Ask them, are you a guest here? If they answer yes, you're in the town of liars. If they say no, you're in the town where honest people live. Look at these ladies. One of them has stolen a watermelon. Can you figure out which one it is? It's the girl on the right. Her navel isn't visible, even though she's wearing a rather tight dress. Her belly must be fake. Oh no, Mary is crying. But why? Do you know the reason? First of all, Mary is the girl on the left. Do you see that school bag with her name on it? And she's crying because the guy sitting next to her is pulling her hair. Next, can you figure out which car is a transformer? Right you are. It's this one. This granny claims the nurse steals her pills, but the nurse says it's a ridiculous accusation. Who's lying? Duh! Look at the nurse's head. It's not a hat, it's a container with the pills. Now, you need to figure out which blogger is a vampire. Be very attentive to details. Even though the girl wearing all black looks sinister, the vampire is the girl on the right. Look, the lamp is turned on. But unlike the girl on the left, the vampire has no shadow. Olivia's husband was a hunter. Once he went on a hunting trip for 3 days, but when he came back home, he brought nothing. The next day, Olivia went to a cafe with several friends. They shared their latest news. Donna said, "I just bought a new apartment." Sarah boasted, "My boyfriend gave me this bracelet for my birthday." Nina said, "And I went skiing to the Alps. It was a fantastic trip, except for those awful mosquitoes." Olivia left the cafe in tears. She was now sure her husband was cheating on her with one of her friends. Can you figure out which one? It's Nina. For one thing, getting bitten by mosquitoes in the Alps while skiing? Really? Plus, the bites on her face and body match those Olivia's husband has. They must have been together. Someone stole a rare diamond from Mr. Lauren's house. The police suspected Jack, a notorious burglar. A detective immediately went to his house. But when Jack found out the man didn't have a search warrant, he didn't let him in. In an hour, the police arrived again, this time with a warrant. They searched the entire house but found nothing. They were ready to leave when one of the police officers exclaimed, "I know where the diamond is!" Have you figured it out too? When the police came to Jack for the first time, his hair was much shorter. He must be wearing a wig. And the diamond is most likely hidden underneath. Liam was a pilot. Once there was an emergency during a flight. Liam had to land the plane right on the highway. Luckily, he was a skilled pilot and no one got hurt. But Liam hit his head and lost his memory. When he got out of the plane, 2 women ran toward him. Both of them claimed he was her husband. Can you figure out who's telling the truth? The woman on the left is a robot. Look, there's a USB port in her neck. A large ocean liner got shipwrecked, and only 5 people survived. They reached an uninhabited island. They were worn out, hungry, and thirsty. They didn't even have the strength to go look for food. So all they managed to get was 3 bananas. How can they divide them equally among 5 people? They should cut each banana into 5 pieces. Then each of them will get 3 pieces. Problem solved. Patrick called the police at night. He claimed he had been robbed. When the police arrived, he told them his story. "I was sleeping in my bedroom when some noise coming from the living room woke me up. I rushed there and saw a short man in a mask. When he noticed me, he opened the back door and ran away. He must have got in through the window. He took all my money." The police officers didn't believe Patrick. Why? If the criminal had got inside through the window, he would have ripped off these decorations, but as we see, they're still intact. Mary was a college teacher. It was the beginning of a new school year, and 3 new students joined the class. When Mary saw them, she immediately realized something was off about one of them. Who? It's the guy in the middle. He doesn't have a shadow. Several police officers were called to a hotel where one of the employees was found unconscious on the floor. The police checked security cameras to figure out what had happened. They didn't see the criminal, but now they had 3 suspects, all of them hotel guests. Sarah said, "I heard some noise but stayed in my room because I was scared." James told the police he'd been outside. He was trying to catch a taxi to go sightseeing. And Damien said he'd been sleeping at home at the time of the accident. Who is lying? Damien. He's a hotel guest. Then how could he be at home, sleeping? Bruce owned a large store that sold expensive designer items. Recently, there were several thefts there. The man asked his friend Gabriel, who was a police detective, to check what was going on. Gabriel spent 2 hours in the store. When he left it, he knew who the thief was and who was guilty of these crimes. Look, the thief is the detective himself. He has stolen a pair of costly sunglasses to prove that the store security is very bad. That's the reason for so many thefts. A mad scientist caught Kevin and locked him in a small room. There were no windows and the door was locked. But there was a note on the table. It was from the scientist. JFMAM. JASOND. Guess the missing letter, and I'll let you free. Several minutes later, Kevin was already running away from the strange place. He managed to figure out that the missing letter was J. Those were the first letters of the months of the year, from January to December. In the sixth letter, J, stood for June. Patrick shaves every day, but every morning, he finds his beard to be just as long as it was the day before. How come? Patrick is a barber. He shaves other people.